Welcome this morning to Glasgow Raiders Nation, guys. Just a quick one. Out and about, guys. Actually, on my way at work. um, but hey, there you go. Look, news this morning, breaking number of sources, guys. I don't know how reliable these sources are. But it's in French media, as well as obviously a number of British sources as well. Like I said, it could all be a load of rubbish. But look, I'm just pressing an opinion on it. Look, looks like Hamza to Lille could well be on. Announcement as expected soon. Look, I mean, a lot of the talk was that once the 1st of July came, which is today, that things would start moving on the Rangers front. Obviously the FFP calculations accounts change over today, rather weirdly. Obviously the 1st of July rather than April, March, which is most people's financial year. However, obviously the FFP year changes this today as of the 1st of July. So 49ers Enterprises, Andrew Kavanagh's accounts officially begin today for the new year, new football season. Hamza to Lille looks like it could well be on. The fee thought to be somewhere between 16 to 17 million euro, which is I think about 15 million pounds. Not massively impressive. Was hoping for a little bit more for the player. Look, absolutely gutted that he's going to go. I think another season with us would have been to his benefit and the club's benefit. I think he is a fantastic footballer. I really like the guy. I think he's got, quality skill, quality technique. I think he scores goals under pressure. I think he's only going to get better. He's 22 years old. He's still learning. He's still developing. 2-3 years time, he's going to hit his peak. Now, it may be that he sees this move to Lille in Ligue 1, which has a slightly higher profile than the SPL, obviously, and then obviously on from there to play Champions League football, play European football. This is kind of like a stepping stone for him. Rangers to Lille then to probably one of the English Premier League clubs. Now, obviously, there have been Premier League clubs interested in Hamza Igamane. Those clubs being West Ham and Everton. However, Hamza may see this as a potential to kind of, do go to Lille, do well at Lille, play well in the Champions League for Lille. Lille had a pretty decent season last season. And then obviously take it on to the next stage, get bigger Premier League clubs, the top 6 Premier League clubs interested in him, the likes of Villa, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea, etc. like that. Clubs that have a bit more standing in that league rather than clubs that, perennial relegation strugglers like Everton or mid-table team like West Ham. That may be the case. I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to second guess what Hamza's thinking. But personally speaking, I'd be really disappointed to see Hamza head out the door. He's a top player. I really like him as a footballer. I think he's been a breath of fresh air at the club. I've enjoyed some of his moments for the club. The goal at Parkhead obviously is the highlight. Now, obviously, like I said, nothing is yet confirmed, but there's a lot of people talking about this. There's a lot of reports about this morning. And like I said, a lot of the talk was that everything would begin as of today, the 1st of July, once the FFP accounts changed over. The other story going around today is Besiktas apparently bidding 6 to 8 million for Mohamed Diamande. This comes on the back, obviously, of Everton reportedly been interested in Diamande earlier in this window, or this mini window, whenever the window started anyway. Besiktas, obviously, another club that were rumoured to be interested in Ridvan Yilmaz. But look, I mean, Dio to there, I mean, this is, I think that's way too low for Dio. If you're talking Dio, you're talking 10, 15 million at least. I think this is a way too cheap transfer. I can't see Rangers doing business on this one. Plus, also, it's coming out of Turkish media. Turkish media as well as I know Turkish media. They make up a lot of bullshit. Turkish media do. I mean, let's face it. How many times was Alfie going to Turkey, or Ryan Kent going to Turkey, or etc. etc. So, I don't think you can place a lot of stand in this one. But it's a story that is going round. Look, I personally hope it doesn't happen. What is slightly concerning for me as a fan is there's a lot of talk about our players exiting this summer, and the players that are exiting are not players that we would want to exit. Raskan, Dio, Hamza, to name obviously the 3 that I really wouldn't want to see go out of the club. But as I said, in previous videos, you can only sell what people want to buy, and if you do want to sell to raise money for your club, to raise money for transfers, then you can only sell what people want to buy. That's the big concern, isn't it? So, look, personally speaking, I would prefer to keep hold of Hamza and Dio for at least another 12 months. I think give them 12 more months, give them, 12 more months playing at this level, playing in Europe, which we will do to some extent, whichever competition it is in. Just raises their standard even further, raises their level even further, and raises the amount of money you can bring in for the players. I think hopefully things will start to move today. Hopefully we'll start to see, contracts being signed, transfers being done. especially ahead of that 22nd of July against Panathinaikos. Guys, we're back later, obviously, with more detail on this. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I better head back to work. Thanks for watching. We are the people.